Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tailgate Talk. We're your hosts, David and Nick. Nick, say hi to the people.
Howdy.
So we're going to talk about the Clemson-Louisville game that happened on Saturday. Tigers honoring military with their military appreciation game. Usually it's a purple out, but given that Clemson was looking to secure outright the Atlantic Division for the last time in ACC history, because next year they're going away from divisions. Um, Clemson decided to pull out the orange britches and give what is, some are saying, the best combo in Clemson football history of orange helmet, purple jersey, and orange britches. Nick, what'd you think of the game?
Well, um, speaking on that uniform combo, I do know some people that I go to school with here that they weren't really fans of it. I liked it, but I do know that there are some that weren't as highly thought of. Onto the game, the offense did what it needed to do. They turned the ball. There were so many fumbles in this game. I don't understand it, but the offense did what they needed. DJ did what he needed to do. He didn't try to do too much. He just did what was needed at the time. Antonio Williams had 10 receptions. That was a big thing. But the story of the day was Phil Maffa and Will Shipley. Ship having another great game and a highlight of a career run where he hurdled a man and then split two defenders on the same play. And Phil Maffa just showing that he is a tough SOB. He got hit. I mean, he got hit at the line of scrimmage and gained 12 yards on the play, carrying people the entire way. Like he played great. Defense looked outstanding. Not much to complain of this game other than giving up the late score, but by then the dust had settled. It was just Louisville playing it out. Props to Louisville's second string quarterback. I forget his name right now, but he came in a tough situation and he played well. One interception, but he did the best he could. So credit to him.
Yeah, that the backup quarterback for Louisville, Brock Dahman, came in for the second half. Malik Cunningham came into the game banged up. He had a broken left hand. Throughout the game, he was getting hit. Clemson was trying to put pressure on him. At one point, it looked like he tweaked his ankle. And then on the last play of the half, he stumbled and then got hit to finish the play, and it looked like he landed on his throwing hand, and that was what was. It's either that or his shoulder. I'm not quite sure if we've gotten a clear update on what exactly he injured at the end of the half, but he wasn't able to go for the second half. But credit to Brock. He came in and he did his best. He was moving the ball. He was finding some open receivers, and it kind of I was sitting there thinking, why are you putting Malik out there when he's clearly not 100% from the get-go? I mean, he was 10 for 13, so completing passes, but only for 75 yards. It just didn't look like he was looking to run that much. And I think that was partly because he didn't have his left hand to use either to stiff arm or to have confidence in gripping the ball. So they were, a lot of handoffs, especially going to one side to then allow him to um, bootleg off of that and roll out to his right and look to throw or run. So I just feel like Malik being injured kind of narrowed Louisville's offense and forced them into some tight spots that Clemson was able to take advantage of in the first half.
It was yeah. And, the bottom line to me is that it was such a better performance all around from last week. They did what they needed to do to rebound and get a little bit of confidence going back to Charlotte. So it was good. It was needed. It was good. I was looking to try to see what the problem with Cunningham was online just now. That's why I was a little zoned out right there, but could not find anything. I just saw something that said that it was his non-throwing side. He left the field, got X-rays, and then came back in street clothes. So Hopefully Malik Cunningham's okay. He's an electric player. Um, Never want anyone to get injured, so hopefully he's okay and he'll make a full recovery.
Yep. A couple more highlights for on Clemson's side. I mean, DJ going 19 for 27, 185 yards. So not, go getting all the yardage that I think people are looking for. Still with a 76.9 QBR. So, pretty good, pretty much on par with what he's been doing. Felt that they got him involved in the run game early, and that helped. And just overall leaning on the run a lot more. I mean, Phil and Shipley combining for 29 carries, averaging like 7.5 yards together,
Yeah.
and going for over 200 yards together. I mean, that's awesome. That's what you want to see from your running backs. And then you had Antonio Williams just coming out and showing why he's becoming the feature receiver for Clemson, the go-to guy for DJ. He had 10 catches, 83 yards and a touchdown. I mean, the guy's running some insane routes. He's getting the defense to bite inside and then just wheeling out to the outside and getting so much separation. He's making it very easy for DJ to locate him and not have to worry about putting the ball in harm's way. So Antonio Williams turning out to be a stud for this team.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I mean, obviously we've had great slot receivers with Renfro and Amari Rogers. I don't remember the last time a slot guy was really like our go-to, our number one, or not our number one. I guess yeah, number one, our guy that kind of carried the load. But I mean, he's proven that he was. I forget the story, but he was a late offer. Clemson almost didn't offer him, but he held out, waited for the offer, got one, committed, and thank God he did because he has been a very very big bright spot in this offense this year. So and not only I'm not sure if you just said this, but he's also returning punts and he's electric. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind putting for our kick return having Shipley on one side and Tony Williams on the other, and tell the other team choose, have fun. So um, I think I called for Antonio Williams to start a punt return like a week before it actually happened. So I'm happy to see that I'd call it a prediction kind of came true there. So yeah, I mean I think another highlight to kind of segue is also the guy that shares his number 0, Barrett Carter. Oh my God, what a game he had. Trent Simpson being hurt could have really hurt us on defense, but Barrett Carter said, "Nah, I got this." I think he had 8 tackles, 3.5 for loss, I believe, 2 sacks, 1 interception. He was the first player to have 3.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a pick in a game since I forget the guy's name on Auburn, but since against a Power 5 opponent since 2011. So that's something that hasn't been happened in 11 years. And he was a man on a mission. My favorite play, he hurdled the cut block and sacked the quarterback. Like that, people just don't do that. That's unreal. So a great game for Antonio Williams, but also that number 0 has been flashing on both sides of the ball and on special teams, and I think I like it. So shout out to the 2 zeros.
I mean, defense was just getting after Louisville today. They had 4 sacks total, 9 tackles for loss. I mean, they were just living in the backfield. Trotter had 12 tackles. Barrett Carter, like you said, Nick had 8. You had Nate Wiggins put in another really solid game, breaking up some passes and just overall looking like he's maturing really, really well. You've got Wade Woodaz stepping in, and he was all over the field too, even though stats wise, he had 3 tackles, 1 sack, and 1.5 tackles for loss. So he was involved just and running all over the place, just maybe not getting the same type of stat line as Trotter and Carter. But I mean, I think you're showing that Clemson's got some really, really athletic young guys in that linebacking core that you give them a little bit more time to um, develop and continue to be students of the game and just pick up the nuances of the defense, and those guys are going to be special the
Hmm.
next couple of these seasons. So
And
the trial by fire that they've gotten this year, being forced into action because they are the most athletic guys that Clemson has. And, I think it's just going to pay dividends in the long run for them.
uh, quick shout out for Jeremiah Trotter Jr. He was all over the place on the field. He also represents the home state of Jersey. So always gotta love a fellow Jersey guy. Wade Woodaz, from what I remember when he was being recruited, wasn't exactly the highest in the rankings, but the staff loved him, and I think that's kind of showing that he's showing why. And it proves that yeah, rankings are a good indication, but they're not always true. Sometimes it's I mean, there are those types of guys all the time, like JJ Watt, Aaron Donald, a couple Clemson guys would be Hunter Renfro wasn't highly ranked. There
Shipley
are
and Moffa weren't even that highly ranked either.
no, Shipley was
They
number one
weren't they
running
weren't
back in the
heavily
country, I thought.
recruited. I mean, it's I think this is something that you look at with Clemson as development is huge for this program. But yeah, I think I was talking with some of my friends from college and bring up the same kind of thing, trying to take a look at CJ Spiller's job as the running backs coach. Are they identifying maybe some hidden gems and just doing a really good job developing or what's going on there? But I don't think that they were, you know, seen as home run perfect. Everyone was clamoring for them, but they fit Clemson's program.
Are you talking about Ship and Maffa?
Yeah.
Will
I could be
Shipley was
absolutely wrong.
you are. Will Shipley was a 5-star, number 32 ranked in the according to 24/7. He was the
How
number
many running
32
backs are
ranked.
ahead of him, though?
He was the number 2 running back in the country,
Okay, then I'm absolutely wrong.
and Maffa was number 11,
Okay. So
four-star
maybe
guy.
Moffa was a little bit more just, I mean, he's seen as a bit more of a ground and pound guy, but the both guys clearly shown that they've got the talent.
Sorry,
All right,
a
that's the
five
last time that
star,
I just trust my friends for no reason.
a 5-star, and a four
That sounds
star.
right. I mean, I don't know. I haven't paid enough attention to recruiting to absolutely say, but God,
You said that I was like, wait, I think that
it's
unless I'm wrong, they
uh,
were like some of the best players in the country. They went to. That's awesome.
it's late,
Um,
man. It's late. It's late here. I'm One thing I want to kind of harp back on with we were talking about Antonio Williams a little bit earlier. I'm looking at this, total receptions for the team yesterday, including the past two DJ, 20 completions. Out of those 20 completions, 10 of them went to Antonio Williams. The next highest guys were Stool and Nagata with two each. I mean, uh, it's insane how much the passing game is starting to run through Williams. Um, so just throwing that out there right now. I think Clemson needs to um, spread the ball out a little bit more. But when you're only throwing, what was it? You're throwing 30 times a game, completing 20 of them. There's not a whole lot of completions to go around at that point.
yeah, I I definitely think that as the seasons come on, I do like seeing the fact that Stool and Allen were getting a little more involved. I Both of those guys are great athletes. We need to be getting them the ball as much as possible. So as much as I love Antonio Williams, but I agree with what you just said. Like they need to spread the wealth a little bit,
Mhm.
start people because the second that we become predictable is when we're going to lose our confidence. Is when it's going to be another Notre Dame. So we need to keep distributing the ball, keep people guessing. There were some imaginative play calls in there, and I liked I don't know why we couldn't do that last week with the running. Just you don't have to just straight hand the ball off. Do what you did. Do a little misdirection. Do some draws. Do something. This week I was much
The
more
fake
pleased.
screen. Oh
Yeah,
my
I mean
God, that fake screen to Stool where he
it
got
worked.
I think 26 yards off that. where he fakes the block and just slips in for like a wheel route. Oh, I was so happy to see that. I texted you right away, like, yes, fake screen. What a play call. And
Yeah.
you're right. Why you start scratching your head a little bit when you're like, why didn't we do this last week? Where was the aggressive play calling of, running the ball and trusting your offensive line and all that? So it gives you a bit of a head scratcher, but at the end of the day, you got to move on to the next game. So it's good to see that the team rebounded the way that they did and kind of looked to insert their will. I mean, the game was it was what 20 it was 17-7 at half. I think it felt like Clemson was kind of controlling um the game from the get-go. I mean, they went down and scored. Um they were moving the ball and defense was getting after Malik Cunningham. So it, there was one moment where it was 10-7 after Louisville had what their best drive of the half in the first, and then that was pretty much it. Clemson kind of
Yeah.
uh clamped down and had control after that.
It was just I just like I said, I loved how different it was. And yeah, this is a much more happy recording than last week's, even though that one got the most views. So it's fun to be happy.
Yeah. So just a quick snapshot of what's going on with everybody else. We've still got four undefeated teams in Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU, ranked that way respectively. Tennessee came out and took care of business against Mizzou, I think. LSU
Yes.
was able to squeak out a win against Arkansas. USC looked really good against Colorado. Then you had Oregon falling to Washington. That was some game. Oregon in their highlighter uniforms, as I think you called them, Nick. Uh,
I think.
I think you called them the highlighter uniforms. It was, but that game was nuts, going back and forth over and over, big plays. Some of the plays that Michael Penix Jr. and Bo Nix were making were just insane. But Oregon now with two losses, and UCLA also losing to Arizona. Now all your hopes for the Pac-12, I think, kind of rest with USC. And
And
if
if we
USC
know,
doesn't finish out the season with only one loss, I think the Pac-12 is probably getting left out of the playoff. Uh, Bama one beat Ole Miss, held on at the end. But they are the best they can do now is second in the SEC West. LSU has now clinched that role. So we've got already ACC and SEC conference championship games have been set. We've got Clemson, North Carolina, and then we've got Georgia, LSU as those two games that are set. Big Ten, it's anyone's idea who comes out of the West. I think no team actually controls their own destiny, which is insane to think of. You've got
didn't you
four teams
say
tied at 4-3 in the conference.
didn't you say Iowa if they went out they're in?
I'm not sure if they do because I'm looking at the scenarios. I think Iowa might be the one with the if they went out they're in, but it's still it's anyone's idea who actually comes out of that. I was looking at I think there's like 50 different scenarios that could happen. Um, uh,
Oh my
Different
gosh.
combinations of wins and losses. It's nuts when you've got what 2 games left in the season.
About?
And you
Yeah,
still
too.
have no idea who's coming out of the West, but they're coming out with at least 3 losses. And then you've got we're gonna see if Michigan can avoid the Nebraska curse that's going on this year. Any team that's beaten Nebraska has then gone on to struggle at least the next couple of games. So they've got who are they playing this week? Do you know, Nick? But I know they've got Ohio
I'm
State the
looking it
week
up right
after.
now. I'm looking it up right now.
So it's still a lot of football left to play.
They play Illinois at home.
Yeah, and Illinois
Yeah,
I think they
they're
just
right
lost
now they're right
to
now a
Purdue.
17 and a half point favorite.
Yeah. So it's nuts. We don't know what's going on with the Big Ten. And the Big 12, it's pretty simple. TCU's got to be the team. I think they've got Kansas State, who's got 3 losses, as the second best team in the Big 12 right now. So TCU absolutely needs to go undefeated to be in the playoff, I think.
Yeah. So it's, as a Clemson fan, hopefully they lose.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we were discussing it this week. There's definitely a path for Clemson to get into it. I think that with ACC championship title, teams like Tennessee and Alabama, um, I think that the championship there kind of trumps it. But I don't know. I think that discussion the committee's going to have between Tennessee and Clemson will come down to who they think is a better matchup, a better team overall, to probably play Georgia
Yeah.
in the first round. I mean, Tennessee's an interesting thought because you look at, Georgia was able to get them to get 3 and outs, and with that Chad Morris style offense, once they start getting 3 and outs, that
It's done.
defense gets put on the field a lot, and they were already giving up points, so it's a tall order or tall ask for them
Yeah.
um, when that starts happening.
Again, as a Clemson fan, hopefully that, I mean, Tennessee's not going to lose because they play South Carolina and Vanderbilt, so they're looking pretty good to end the year.
Hey,
Hopefully,
hey,
if
let's pump the brakes here. Vandy's just snapped their 26-game SEC losing streak. They're turning over a new leaf. So
if that's what you
maybe
want to
Vandy's
call
got
it,
a shot. I don't know.
maybe they okay. I like
They
how we
played a
said they
new
might have a shot, not the other team.
no. I think South Carolina's
Come
packed it in.
back.
Their love relationship, the honeymoon phase with Shane Beamer feels like it is on life support if it's not already dead. So I don't know what's going on there, but that fan base is beside themselves with the same season they had last year, basically.
I'm so sorry that that happened to them. Oh, darn. Shoot. Why did I have to do that? Oh, man. I'm very
Yeah,
happy.
it's nice to see ETN brothers both got the memo that they need to show up and put South Carolina in their place. So shout out to
100%.
Trevor Etienne for taking South Carolina out to the woodshed. And a
374
little other
listeners.
little note, I know we've had some love-hate relationship with them. Nick's Utah Utes in the
Oh
top 10
boy.
for the AP poll. Who knows
We're
where you
back.
put them at this point?
We're
I think I've
back.
had him in the 20s. Nick's had him in the top 15, early high 15. Um,
I had him at
so
10 a
we don't know
couple
where
weeks
where
ago.
to put him at this point.
Whew.
But Utah sticking around, 2 losses on the season. So
I
maybe
was on
maybe
the
I'll have
right
to
side of
finally put
history.
them in my low teens.
You know where they're going to be for me.
11, 13.
They may be crawling up there, you know? I mean, hey, the AP obviously thinks they're good.
Yeah,
All I'm saying.
The AP also ranked South Carolina a couple weeks ago, so I don't know if I trust their judgment.
Oops.
So
Throwback to
yeah, I
when
think that's a lot of football left to play. I don't think we know what's going to go on with the with what's left. Bunch of big games still play. Rivalry coming up. That's going to be huge. So we're
there
looking
there is
forward to that. Hope you guys are too.
there is one thing we know, and that is the fact that Texas A&M will not be going bowling. Attaboy, Jimbo.
Yep, Jimbo Fisher getting the number one first time in history getting the number that a team has the number one recruiting class and then fails to make a bowl game that season.
Oof.
So at least they're making history.
I mean, you can't take that away from them. You know, that's theirs.
They're trying to give it away and they can't.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yep, I think they've got who do they have? They've got LSU this week, I think.
No, I think this is the week that all the SEC teams start playing cupcakes. Alabama plays Austin P. Tennessee plays South Carolina, so that's their
Yeah, that's a
cupcake.
cupcake.
Let me check the rest of the FCC. Um, it would load. Yeah, Mississippi State plays Etsu. Texas A&M is playing. Oh, they got UMass. Florida's Vanderbilt. Georgia, Kentucky. Auburn, Western Kentucky. Ole Miss, Arkansas, Missouri, and New Mexico State, LSU, UAB. So for most teams, it's
Question
a cupcake.
is UMass better than App State?
No, App State's good.
I'm just saying they lost to App State, so if you've got they're better than App State, then you got to worry. Although they're
UMass
worse
is
than
one
App
and
State, you
nine.
still got to worry if you're A&M.
UMass is 1-9. App State's good. Sunbelt's a tough league.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's probably all we've got for today. We're looking forward to the playoff rankings coming out Tuesday night. So check us on Wednesday with our updated rankings. I think we're going to try and expedite that because we were starting to realize that 30 teams, once we get past like 15, Nick and I realized that we need to watch way more football
Yeah.
in order to have any kind of idea where to rank those teams. So
Well,
thank you all for joining. And as always, guys, go Tigers.
go Tigers.